Hi guys, it's Lakey here and welcome to another video. If you've watched my recent videos, basically all of my videos, you'll notice that this is a very different background and potentially also different lighting, and I'm not going to figure the lighting out in this place because this is only temporary, and so we'll deal with what we have here. But I moved, not just cities or just moved in general. I just moved countries. So and we'll talk about this a little bit today. So because I figured sometimes you guys like to see a little Q&A or a little talking video with me, hopefully. And so this is kind of like a little bit of a life update, and I can talk a little bit about my first week here, because it's only been basically a week. I think I arrived like 7 days ago today. So we'll talk about a bit about this as well, and have some fun videos and pictures and stuff, and that's what we'll be doing today. Yes. So usually I review activewear, so if you're only interested in activewear, then I'm sorry, this video is not for you. But if you want to get to know me a little bit better, and you want to hear what's happening in my life and why maybe backgrounds are going to change in my videos, not just maybe, because they are definitely going to change, then sit here and listen to me talk. If you ever have any questions, you can drop them down below, and I think I also do have a link where you can ask anonymous questions if you want to. So that's I'll post that in the description box, and we can do another follow-up video if you're interested. But yes, so I've had this I can't talk. That's a good start, right? I've had this YouTube channel for a few years now, and I started this when I was a PhD student in biotechnology. So I've done a few talking videos before. I'm just gonna link the playlist up here in case you have any questions about this. But I'm just quickly gonna talk about this. So I've lived in Sweden for the past 5 years, basically, pursuing a PhD in biotechnology. So and I've successfully defended my PhD in the end of August last year, so 2023, after 4 years and about 3 months, I think. In Sweden, PhDs take 4 years. It is supposed to be like 4 to 5 years, depending on how much you teach. And so I was pretty much like in the norm of the time it would take. I know other countries have other rules. In Denmark, for example, PhDs usually take 3 years. But, depending on where you are, it might be less, it might be more, requirements change, whatever. So, I defended my PhD last year. And then naturally, I had to look for a job. So, because I don't know what you think, but like this social media stuff and YouTube and whatever, it doesn't really pay that much. So it's not, like, at least I can't make a living off of it. And I also don't think I ever would like to. It's a nice hobby to have, and I enjoy it quite a lot, but it's not my whole life, So I was looking for jobs. I wasn't stressing about it, finishing at the end of August. I was like, okay, I don't really want to work before the end of the year, so I'd like to start a job maybe in January or February, take some time off. PhD is also always very stressful because there's a lot of requirements. It's your own project. It's your little baby, basically. And that's why I was happy to take some time off. And honestly, I was not bored over the past 4 months or anything. And I was actually, having a good time, which was also because I actually did get a job offer quite early on in my job search. So then I didn't have to stress about it because I knew what was going to happen. I still applied for some jobs because I had to, but, I actually at least knew that something was waiting for me in January. So now it is mid-January, and I did start my job also a week ago. So and I am in Finland now. So we're still in the Nordics. I took my car and I drove it all the way to Sweden's east coast, because I used to live on the Swedish west coast. So I drove all the way over there, which is about 5.5 hours. So all you North Americans are like, this is not that far. For me, this is still quite far. I needed a friend because my boyfriend is still working in Sweden right now. He'll be joining me later here. But so I had a friend join me for this trip. And then in Stockholm, which is Sweden's capital, we did take a ferry over to Helsinki, which is Finland's capital. And this is also the area where I am right now. So the ferry takes about, 16 hours. But let's talk about the car ride first. So I had a little issue with my car. My car's quite old. It's the first car I bought when I was, when I got my license. So I still have it. So just before, New Year's, basically, the car broke down on the way back from Germany to Sweden. In Sweden, though. And, we had to get it towed and stuff. And I had to wait for the repairs because, of course, it was a very not so good time to, need a car repair because the car shops were also closed in between Christmas and New Year sometimes, or like at least, some of those days. And, well, I mean, I got it back in time to drive to Stockholm, so that was good. And, Sweden, it has been quite cold in Sweden. The Swedish west coast usually, we do get a little bit of snow and a little bit of ice sometimes, but that's usually happens towards the end of February, I would even say. And now, beginning of January, it was like super cold, super windy, icy, snowy, and that was quite surprising. So I wasn't very keen on having to drive, but you know what? I have to do it. And there's a highway that goes to Stockholm, so it's not a problem. And we're driving through like nice winter countryside. I also have some videos and just some footage. Stopped for lunch, stopped for coffee. And then on the way to the ferry, we kind of got lost a little bit because there's multiple ferries going in that area to also to Estonia, to Tallinn, and other places around the Baltic Sea. So I decided to not follow the Google Map thing, but like follow the signs on the road, which, was wrong apparently, because I should have followed the sign to Tallinn when I actually wanted to go to Helsinki anyway. So we made it to the ferry in time as well. And this ferry is like literally like a cruise ship, not a big cruise ship, mind you, right? I mean, if you're used to cruises, you always have like big cruise ships that you go on. Of course, it's not that big, but I mean, for me, it was quite a big cruise ship. They had like a promenade where you could go shopping, and they had a club, multiple restaurants, a pub with live music. So like a lot of stuff. And then there's a big duty-free shop, and people go crazy. So I don't know if you're from Scandinavia, you'll know this, but if, you've never been here or it's very unfamiliar to you, alcohol sales are quite restricted. So the state has a monopoly basically on selling alcohol with certain exceptions. In Sweden, for example, it's light beer that you can buy in the grocery stores. Otherwise, you do have to go to a Systembolaget, which has all the alcohol. And so the state also sets the prices, and alcohol prices are quite high in Sweden. It is somewhat similar in Finland, although a little bit less restricted. So you can buy like beers and some types of long drinks with, let's say, like a percentage of like up to 5 or some percent in the grocery stores. At least this is what I've seen now, although they don't sell them to you after 9 p.m. But they also do have the alcohol store, which is called Alko, I think. I've been in 1 or 2 so far already, trying to check out and see what they had. And Norway also has, a monopoly on that and stuff. So it is very, very similar in the Nordic countries. So usually what I've learned also from these boats between Stockholm and Helsinki, some people actually just do a cruise. So they get on the ship on like Friday, go to one city and come back the next night. So, they stay on the ship, or maybe they get off and like look at the city and then go back on. And you have the cabins there, and, all the restaurants and everything. And people go crazy in the duty-free alcohol shop. So for me, I come from a country where alcohol is not that expensive, Germany. And a friend of mine who came with me, so he comes from Spain. And so we go to the store and we see all these people just like grabbing bottles of vodka and wine and everything. And we're just looking at the price and like, oh my God, this is still so expensive. But these people are just like going for it, But it was so expensive. It was crazy. And then they also had like some really like interesting like flavors of crisps or chips, depending on what you want to call them. With like magic mushrooms and some weed, but like the percentages of them were super like small, so we actually didn't try those or anything, Anyway, so we were on this boat and we had sushi. They have a sushi restaurant there on that one. We checked out the pub. Then there was someone playing live music, so we just hung out there, had a few beers, and then we also did check out the stage club thing that they have, where they have like some shows going on. They were not that good, but it was interesting. And then we also did go and check out the club. But it wasn't that busy, it's January, so a lot of people have good intentions for the year, right? And they also, it's not summer, so I feel like in summer it's going to be way more popular because they, of course, also do have outside areas that are, it's a little chilly. Like there was ice floating in the sea. And the sea does have some salt. The Baltic Sea is not that salty, and it's kind of like a closed off, like it only has like one connection to the Atlantic Ocean. But, still it has salt. And yeah, in Stockholm there was like ice floating everywhere. It was pretty interesting. But yeah, then the next morning when we got to Helsinki, so this ferry takes about 16, 17 hours, the ice sheets were much thicker. It was much more ice and also a lot more snow. And of course, conveniently, this ferry gets you right to the city center of Helsinki, which is the biggest city in Finland. So I have to drive there, right? And like there's snow everywhere. So that was like, oh my God, this is something. I don't usually drive in snow. Like, kudos to you if you do that every day and if you're safe, right? Because some people are also just like crazy. But yeah, I don't drive every day in the snow. So I was like, woo. And then through the city center. Fortunately, it was a Saturday morning, so it wasn't too busy. I just went my speed, all good. Didn't look like they really bothered to clear anything at that point yet. I think it just snowed overnight or something. So yeah, there was definitely a lot of snow. And then we got to the accommodation, the temporary accommodation that I have right now. And my little car, it's a Volkswagen Polo, so it's really just like very small. Had to go over this like mountain of snow basically to get into the parking lot. And I was just like, oh God, I'm going to get stuck. I made it though. But I feel like now my car is stuck because it has snowed so much more since I arrived. There's like this huge snow mountain right next to my car that had been there the entire time already that grew now. But now there's also so much snow on my car and in front of it and around it because I haven't moved it since. But yeah, that was something. And like I said, it has snowed much more. I've got temperatures of like minus 20, 21 degrees Celsius. Also during the day recently. Some days have also been nice and warm. But it's a lot more snow than I'm used to. Like the south of Sweden doesn't get that much snow. It gets a little bit of snow, but it's, not like a meter basically. But yeah, the area around here is super pretty, very nice. The first weekend, so because we arrived on a Saturday, we just, walked around, explored the city center. On the Sunday, we actually went to the sauna that is downtown. And then, it's a very Finnish thing, sauna. And in order to cool yourself off, you can do a number of things. You can just take a cold shower. You can do more interesting things like dip in the sea. So they had like a seawater pool. The water was 1 degree Celsius. So, of course, we had to do that. But you can also roll in the snow. So we, of course, also had to try that. And that burns. So basically, because the snow stays stuck on you, whereas once you come out of the water, like the water just rinses off, but like the snow just got stuck on us, right? And then you had to go quickly shower it off. But that was an experience for sure. And then I had to start my job, which has been very fun and interesting. But of course, the first week is always or the first weeks, just like kind of a lot of learning things and like doing all these mandatory safety, security things and a lot of computer stuff basically. But I'm also going to do some more experimental work, so I'm really excited for that. And now this is the first weekend. I did some laundry, taking it easy, took a walk outside, took my yoga pictures with the self-timer and the sun. And, that's always challenging. But yes, so I'm officially I've gotten here. So this is a temporary apartment, which you won't see this too often, I think. And but then there'll be a new place and I will set up the whole filming and everything. And it's gonna be interesting. So if you have any questions, do let me know, I also have not started finding a gym yet because I wanted to focus on starting the job. And now I'll kind of start looking into it. So all I've done is, take walks. So I currently walk about 20 minutes to work and then walk back through the snow. And I've done some home things. I brought some dumbbells, and I brought a yoga mat. And I also do have my TRX with me, so the suspension trainer, the strap thing. I actually have it right here. So you can carry that everywhere and just, you know, attach it to doors and stuff. So that's always pretty neat to have. But yes, I haven't done too much. More like home workout style, you know. And to be fair, usually when I start something very new, I'm also quite like just done with the day at the end of the day, and it usually gets better gradually. So like I felt much more energetic like towards the end of the work week, because I got used to, you know, the schedule and stuff. And yeah, it's also getting brighter, you know. It's January again, like the sun's coming more. I think today the sunrise was around, was it 9? I think so. Sunset is gonna be at 4, so we have like 7 hours of daylight, kind of. Well, I mean, it's not full daylight once, you know, when it rises and before it sets, but we're getting there. So it's, you know, getting more bright outside when it's not like snowing and it's super cloudy. Yeah, and that of course also makes a big difference for mood and feeling awake and that kind of stuff. So yeah. Yeah, if you have any questions, like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. I don't really know what else I want to talk about. You know, I inserted some fun footage, I hope. And yeah, everything here is frozen over as well. So like solid frozen. I saw people walk between some of the islands here just today. Just walking back and forth, skiing across the ocean, basically. The ocean, it's a sea, but you know. Ice fishing. I've seen that too now. People are playing hockey outside in outside rinks. So yeah, there's that. Saw some people fall as well, because some of the parts are slippery, and I'm also really not looking forward to all the snow melting and becoming an ice. Yeah, just solid ice, basically. I'm not sure if I'll survive this, but you know, let's hope. And otherwise, yeah, I brought a lot of stuff in my car. My car was filled to the brim, and you know, there's more things to be moved, obviously, but that has time. I brought all the stuff I needed urgently. The filming stuff, for example, I brought in the car. My instruments that I play. I play violin and mandolin, in case you didn't know. I don't know if I ever mentioned this. But yes. Certain foods and stuff. So this is like fully furnished here where I am right now, with like even a kettle and a coffee machine, which I never use because I usually just drink tea. A fridge, you know, some chairs, a bed, a desk, a TV even. That has like 5 working channels, of which most of them are Finnish. But to be fair, so in Sweden and in Finland, and probably also Norway and Denmark, they don't dub things. So in Germany, we dub things a lot because there's more than, like, let's say there's probably around 100 million German speakers. So it kind of makes sense. But here you have 5 million people living in Finland. So like 95% of them are Finnish speaking, right? 5% are Swedish speaking. Sweden has 10 million people, so it's not really worth it. So a lot of the shows, if they're English or movies, they will be not dubbed, but there will be subtitles. But any Finnish shows, I mean, I have no idea about Finnish yet. I know a few words. My Swedish is much, much better than my Finnish is. And Finnish is also, I feel, much, much harder. There's no roots in common between Finnish and Swedish, for example, Finnish and English, Finnish and German. So if you know English, or if you know German for sure, you can read Swedish very easily. If you know English, you can also read some words easily in Swedish. And yeah, Swedish overall is not too difficult of a language grammar-wise, but Finnish is very, very different. There's a few words where it's like, oh, this makes sense. So like, I feel like a handful of words I've learned so far out of the 300 Duolingo taught me have a relation to some other word that I know, but that's about it. Yes, and of course also, you know, Finnish people are, same as like Swedish people, a little bit more reserved. But I've already, like, you know, started chatting to some of my coworkers, so it's all good. I'm more of a chatty person. I'm very, like, outgoing and stuff. And that usually has helped me. So we'll see. We'll see if it continues to be a good thing. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I can do an update video about this soon, maybe when I move into the new place. And yeah, let me know. Or don't, I guess. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope, you know, you found this informative. And if you have any feedback, any suggestions, leave it down in the comments below. But also if you have any of your questions, obviously. And like I mentioned, I will there will be a link in case you want to ask anonymous questions in the description box, so you can post them there. And otherwise, yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.